Hello, bold goal crushers. I'm super excited about this episode. I'm excited about all our episodes, but I got a lot of feedback from the last solo episode where I talked about how you may fund your dream if you're trying to start a business. And many people were like, I don't think I can borrow money or take on investors or anything like that. And they mentioned that they're in a 9 to 5 job and they're not sure that they can actually start a business and walk away from the security, but mostly the income and the benefits that position affords them. And I want to explore that a little because we did talk about personally financing your dreams and we did talk about bootstrapping, and that's where you use the revenue you make and invest it right back into the business. And we did talk about borrowing from friends and relatives. And so while those are all great options, I think many times, I know I was in this position as well. I had a 9 to 5 job, which really was a 24/7 job. I was always carrying that job's stress and priorities on my shoulders. And I think many times we don't walk away from those things because we're afraid that we might struggle, or we are afraid that we're not going to be able to make up that income or get those benefits. And I'm here to tell you, figuring out the health insurance is doable. So please take that off the table. It is doable. When you are profitable and you're making money, you can afford that. So don't let that hinder you. You can also get savings plans and stuff like that for retirement. So take those off the table. Let's just talk about the security of getting that paycheck every 2 weeks or every month or however you get it every week and what that brings to you. It allows you to feel safe. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic needs are food, shelter, and clothing. And I think that is a valid concern, especially if you are providing for your household. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you want to fund your business, but you're not working. You're not trying to leave your 9 to 5, but you don't have the resources to be able to do it. So here's a thought. Maybe you don't need a side hustle. Maybe you need two side hustles. So specifically, if you are sitting in your job, maybe the way to fund your dream is to slowly decrease the amount of time you're doing in your full-time job. So there's several ways to do this. So you have the business you want to start or the dream you want to fund over here, and you have your full-time job. So there's a couple of options. But when you're working 40 plus hours over here and you're working 20 plus hours over here, that's 60 hours. Now, while you can do 60 to 80 hours a week, it's a tough pace to maintain. And so your dream gets further and further away because it doesn't have the focus or the spotlight because you're still focusing with your little flashlight on your full-time job because that brings you the security. Am I suggesting you out there and just quit your job today? No. But consider creating a plan where you can slowly take those 40 hours, drop them down, and over here, your 20 hours that you're spending on your side hustle or whatever you are, you're increasing that so that later your full-time job, your 9 to 5er, that's never a 9 to 5, they always lie on that, is less of the focus and your business is more of the focus or your dream is more of the focus. So how might you do that? The first one is to get really efficient at your work. Don't take on additional projects. Get off your plate the things that have been hanging out for a long time and really streamline how you work at work. Many times when we're dreaming of something else, we're multitasking. So we may be doing things at work that aren't really work related, they're side hustle related, but we're not giving it our full attention because our boss might walk in or our boss might ask for something. So drill down on what you actually need to do at your job and get really clear on the process of that and treat it just like that. These are the things I need to get done. Don't take on any additional tasks. Now, I'm not talking about silent quitting here. There's that thing out there where you're like not doing your job. Do your job well because this job is a great resource for what you may be creating over there. but don't go the extra mile. Don't be taking on all the committees and offering to host the bake-a-thon and all that stuff when you know you really want to be building this over here because your heart's not in it anyway. You're just doing it to feel like you are needed and wanted and as a contributor. So you want to make sure that your focus is on building your dream. Now, many of you have jobs that aren't that easy to do that in. So you may be not able to do that. That's just one idea. Try and really hone in on your work and really think about at work. What are my job responsibilities? How am I doing them well? And then how might I make sure that I'm not multitasking, that I'm truly focused on work when I'm at work and my side hustle when I'm on my side hustle. The other option is to ask for reduced hours. Maybe there's a way that you can get some hours that they drop you down to 35 hours a week. Or maybe you can switch it up so you are 4 days on and then 3 days off, and you're still working the same hours, but then that gives you a whole entire day to focus on your dream and side hustle. So that's an option. Maybe jump it down to part-time. Maybe find some other positions in your company where they do offer part-time options that you might be able to apply for. Now, I'd be really careful about discussing these things with your boss unless you have a great relationship and they're really keyed in on your development. But that's a way that you are able to really change the focus on how many hours you're spending in each bucket. Now, if you get down to 20 hours, you now can be 40 hours over here. So the increased focus on that should speed up the time it's going to take you to get profitable or achieve your dream. Now, for some of you, that's not possible. Like, you know that being in the current company you're in or the current status that you're in, that you are not going to be able to leave that. And some of you aren't even working in a position, but you just have so many duties at home. And so maybe it's time to think about 2 side hustles where you actually quit your job, your full-time position, and you take on 2 side hustles. One of them being the one that you truly want to focus on. Now, if you're not working, this is another option for you to bring in some income to fund your dream. I do have some experience with this because when I first started out in my business, fell into it. I was working on a project and then somebody wanted to hire me to work on a project with her husband. And I said, okay, I'll do that, but I needed a way to charge him. So I started my business a long time ago, but I truly was not in it even 20 hours a week until about 2018, 19. And that's when I started to realize that I wanted to truly ramp up my business and do something more. And then in 2020, during the big COVID layoff, I was laid off for the COVID pandemic. And so I was thrown into the deep end of the pool. And when I first started, I basically did 2 side hustles. I was creating my business, but I also needed a way to bring in income. And in order to do that, I found different ways to bring in income. I also had a bunch of people like tell me, oh, you should do this. So I checked them out. I didn't do all of them, but I want to share this with you because sometimes we get stuck and we're like, oh, I need to make up half my income or all of my income. And this isn't ready yet. My business, my goal, the thing that I'm building isn't ready yet. So I can't do it until it's ready. I can't leave my job till it's ready. And I can't make money because I'm spending too much time over here. Attention, bold goal crushers. Are you ready to take your online business to the next level? Get ready to meet your new secret weapon. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned 6, 7, or 8-figure entrepreneur, a smooth and optimized payment process is vital for success. Spiffy Checkouts is the industry-leading checkout platform trusted by top course creators, thought leaders, coaches, personal brands, freelancers, and agencies. Spiffy Checkouts makes it possible for anyone to create high-converting and revenue-boosting checkout flows No coding or costly developers needed. Spiffy outperforms any other cart system out there, backed by their guarantee. They're so confident that you'll love it, they offer a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Don't go another day with sales slipping through the cracks. Get started with Spiffy today. Visit spiffy.co. Again, that's spiffy.co. Spiffy checkouts where bold goals meet seamless sales to create your success. Visit spiffy.co and get started today. So here are some ideas. Just go with me. Now, you can get on Upwork. For those of you who don't know about Upwork, Upwork is a great way to do tasks, what you're good at. So if you're a web designer, you can get on Upwork and build websites for other people. You could also get like a virtual assistant position where you're working on some projects for people or assisting them virtually. Another cool thing, you could just post, I did this actually. You could just post on LinkedIn, hey, these are the things I'm really good at. I'm open to projects. If anybody has something that they would like me to work on, I'd love for you to consider me. Those are some great ways to get your feet wet, and you could truly align them with the things that you want to do in your business or your goal. So that's a really cool thing that you could do. Now, for those of you who are like, okay, but that's not going to bring in enough money, or that's an idea, I'll try that. And maybe it's a bunch of different things. The other thing you could do is you could go and teach online your skill to students. So I do teach at the University of the People, which is a really cool school for people all over the world to go to school. And I teach Introduction to College. It's a great course. It does provide me with some little income. It doesn't take me a ton of time. And I get to interact with some really cool students. So you could go teach at a university online. That's another option. Find your skills, apply to be an instructor. Another thing you could do is there's an app called Quick, and I'll link some of these things in the chat so you can, or the show notes, so you can take a look. But Quick is a gig platform that does allow you to see gigs at like restaurants, like bookkeeper or bartenders or servers or caterers or event coordinators, and even some light like restocking and bussers duties. So Quick is an app, Jib Jab Joe, I think, is an app. I'll give you those. And you can see the shifts that come up and select them and show up and help out. It's a great way to infuse a little cash into your dream so you can fund your dream. It's also a way that you could use that and then funnel all that money into your dream. So catering is a great way, helping out with catering companies. Now, you all have heard about Uber Eats and Uber. Another way, you could drive around for a little during the days or nights to create some cash flow into funding your dream. And then, of course, there's Instacart. And I personally have done Instacart. I actually helped somebody get set up on Instacart. I was very curious about how it works. I love Instacart, using it. And I actually enjoyed shopping for others, which is surprising because I'm not a big shopper, but you get to shop for them. There's a little credit debit card that they give you, and then you deliver their goods. I will tell you, I did find stuff that I ended up buying because of what they were shopping for. So just be careful on that. You don't want your second side hustle to become where all your money goes and then it's a volunteer position. So that's another option, is Instacart. You could Airbnb one of the rooms in your house if you're lucky to have a casita or a basement, turning that into an Airbnb. And I think the main point here is what you really want to do is find out what your number is. What is the amount of money that you truly need to run your dream or side hustle and to live, like those basic needs that we've been talking about. And then maybe while your business or goal is getting off the ground, or maybe just to funnel money to be able to afford that, you do have a second side hustle. Now, caution, you want to make sure that if you went from 40 hours on your main hustle and 20 hours on your side hustle, and then you get rid of your main hustle, that the hours on your side hustle need to go up. You can't take on something else and not then redistribute that time into that. And that's the hard part. So I always tell the story about the first week where I was on my own and I didn't have a team. And so because of that, time went by really quickly. Like I started getting up later because I am a night owl anyway. And then I would get up and by 12 o'clock, I'm like, where is the day gone? So you want to be careful about jumping out of that high routine environment, like a 9 to 5 job, which is never 9 to 5, and into having a lot of free time. And so it's important to balance those hours, 40 hours a week, only spend 40 hours a week. And then when you start to drop that down, spending more time over here on your dream or passion. All right, Bold Goal Crushers, I'm going to drop the links of all those different places that I checked out because I love for you to grab them. I'm sure they have some deals or stuff if you use my links, but I'd love for you to check them out because your dreams truly are important. And so it's time to dedicate the time. And maybe it's time to just have two side hustles rather than one full-time job and one side hustle at 60 hours a week, but you're not focusing on both. Okay, bold goal crushers, let's get out there, crush your goals and everything that gets in the way because you do not need to work double time. Thank you for tuning in to the Bold Goal Crusher podcast, where we crush goals and everything that gets in the way. I always love to support my community. I look forward to seeing you crush your goals this year.